All right, guys, so I'm going to talk about distressed lists in this video. We just got done going through the wide niche list, and we like to attack 65 plus. We like to attack people that bought in certain time frames. They're going to provide them to be at a place where they're in good equity. So those wide niche lists, you're fishing for timing and circumstance. And you can go get a huge list that you can get a lot of numbers to call or a lot of numbers to mail. In this case, we're talking mostly about the calling. So with these other lists, these distress lists, what I'm talking about is foreclosure lists, probate, divorce. There's all these city ordinances, rental management lists. These other smaller niches that you can't just go out and buy, 20,000 records, 50,000 records, whatever. So when it comes to cold calling on steroids, that presents one of the biggest problems is that you can't scale it. In fact, with direct mail, it also becomes a problem if you're really scaling your business with a lot of those lists as well. So that's why with direct mail, a lot of times people do those and they're like, I need more. And then it's like, well, you got to hit the wide niche. Now it's time to hit those, which are my favorite anyways, are the wide niche. But because with the wide niche, you're still going to get your other distressed issues. They'll still come into that because, again, what you're fishing for is timing and circumstance in a huge fishing hole where everybody has a lot of equity. With these lists, these distressed lists, the divorce, the probates, all that stuff, the timing, the circumstance is basically already there. So if you know if they got a foreclosure list, that they're probably going to have to do something soon. So what I would recommend doing is contacting them multiple amounts of times in a very condensed time period. With your wide niche list, you might hit them quarterly with a phone call, might even be monthly. With a distress list, let's say a foreclosure list, you might call them 4, 5, 6, 10 times in a 2-week period, and then maybe again in a few weeks. But they're pretty much going to make a decision, or they're going to do nothing rather quickly, whether that means sell the house to somebody else, list that house, do nothing, let it go to foreclosure, whatever the case may be in the example of the foreclosure list, right? So what I recommend doing, again, with those lists are putting them on a Mojo triple dialer and actually calling them. And for 2 reasons. One, the list is not as big, so it's easier to do this on a triple dialer, and you're always going to get better conversion, more leads per amount of contacts on a triple dialer with a live person than you ever would with on a voice broadcast. But these ones, you already know they're hotter. You already know timing and circumstances there. So you can get them on the phone. They're basically already a lead in some regard, right? Or very high probability that they are. So some good lists, some of my favorite distress lists, and I'll talk about my very favorite one last. Don't let me forget that, anybody, because it's an easy one to forget, but and that one's gold. But some of my favorites are foreclosure lists. So I like it when they get the notice of default. Depending on your state, that's probably around 90 days after they're past due on their mortgage. They're going to get what's filed called the notice of default. Basically, the bank initiates the foreclosure. At that point, they're going to get a formal notice from the bank, and all this stuff's happening. So that's a great list to go after. If they have equity, especially, and if they don't have equity, you can look at creative financing, wraps, subject twos, lease options, stuff like that. Bring it current and wholesale the deal off, or bring it current and then keep the deal. If there's equity, obviously, you can approach it like a regular deal, and timing is way working in your favor as the investor, and it's working against the seller, unfortunately, with their circumstance. So there's a lot of motivation and pressure for them to sell wholesale. And then the other big reason is so you know there's a high probability that they're a lead, and then also the list isn't super big, so definitely you want to maximize out as many contacts as you can. You're gonna be able to do that with the triple dialer. Again, with the big list, you can go out and get 60,000. You want to maximize that out with voice broadcasting and with leverage first, but with a list like this, it's a little bit different. So some of my favorite lists, we got the foreclosure list, the divorce list, the probate list, and then my very favorite list. Those are probably the big 3. Okay. I would say then, though, the gold is in the driving for dollars. So this list, the issue with it is you can't just go out and buy it. At least right now, there's nobody providing the service. You actually have to go physically drive your area, but if you spend a day, 2, 3 days, you'll build an awesome list, and what you're looking for is houses that look like they're not going to be sold retail, and you can kind of tell. They look kind of crappy. They look like they haven't been maintained in forever. Whatever the situation may be, just build a huge list, and then you can go back and then you can put those all in a spreadsheet and direct mail them or run them through to call them and that's that's the best distress list that there is. With that being said, give you guys a few sources. We don't do a ton of those small distress list marketing because we do so much of the wide niche marketing. But if you are going to do it, Kent Clothier has the Smart 2.0 system. You can get up to 50,000 records a month. We're actually implementing 2.0 right now. After we use that, hopefully we'll have a ton of success. We'll share more on that with you guys and best practices there. Rebo Gateway is another good one. I believe it's $45 a month, which is like pennies. That works in all areas, and it syncs with different tax departments and whatever to try to find distressed info, and they can provide a lot of those lists. Then the best place is probably going to be to look in your local area. So city websites for tax violations, that's a fourth one that I really like, is a great one. So look in your area. So when people get divorced, where does that notice get filed? When somebody dies, where does that notice get filed? When somebody goes to foreclosure, where does that notice get filed? A lot of those lists, like the foreclosure list and those different ones, you can get through maybe Rebo Gateway, or maybe you can get them through your local title company. But definitely use Google and find out for your local area. Answer those questions. You know, where's the notification go for a divorce, for a death, and get those set up. And it's definitely something to always have on and going. It's definitely going to get you extra deals. And with that being said, we'll go on and talk below in more videos about blanket lists.